Angstrom Levy is considered one of the best villains in the show, but he ain't. Not only is he not a good villain, but he is actually terrible, and I'll prove it to you. To be as objective as possible, let's understand what makes a good villain. Basically, every good villain isn't just there to fight the hero, but actually challenge them in their beliefs or moral code. The most common one is the Dark Reflection. Think Venom or Gollum. These characters are what a hero could become if they abandon their morals. Another is the anti-villain. Think Magneto. Characters that have similar goals to the hero but go about it in extreme ways. Despite not being a villain, Cecil was an antagonist to Mark and made him reconsider if there was a different way in handling villains. Angstrom Levy is none of this. His motivation is to prove that Mark is actually a monster because every other version in the multiverse is one. So the way he goes about this is by attacking an innocent woman and a baby. How does this prove that Mark is the bad guy? You are actively threatening innocent people. Even if Mark does become evil by killing you, then that is entirely justifiable. It's not even murder. It's self-defense, and at worst, it's voluntary manslaughter. And it doesn't even prove anything. What was the plan here? Rage bait Mark so hard he then conquers the planet? But I understand, dear viewer. Angstrom is Frankenstein's monster, where the hero is the one who created the villain. Think Ultron and the Joker. But again, that also makes no sense. Mark went to stop Angstrom's experiment, and that led to it exploding. But Mark didn't do that. Angstrom did it himself by taking off the helmet. So Mark literally had no hand in causing Angstrom to turn into KSI. Mark was literally doing his government sanctioned job of being a hero, and Levy was literally the criminal who helped break out fugitives. For all Mark knew, this machine could have destroyed the world. It makes sense for Angstrom to hate Mark because his brain got scrambled and he experienced all the evil Marks. But for our Mark, it does not. Think about it from his point of view. Tries to stop a criminal from activating a machine, almost dies from a Mauler army, sudden explosion, then months after, the random dude that he thought died returns and terrorizes his family. So all he knows is that a random psychotic maniac is just attacking him and his family for no good reason. Angstrom here is literally schizophrenic, screaming about other invincible versions that no one but him knows even exist. But still, Angstrom did rage bait Mark into committing murder. This still deeply affects Mark's mental state. But this wasn't intentional. The story just kind of fell ass backwards into this. The whole point of the hero's no killing rule is that it crosses a line. In either the hero has no legal or moral justification in being judge, jury, and executioner, or in the case of Batman, he wants to believe that the villain he is fighting can be redeemed because he himself needs to know that redemption is possible for the worst villains as well as for himself. But in most stories like this, the villain knows that they are evil and just wants to prove the point that the hero is just as bad as they are, that they are not actually morally superior, and it just takes one bad day to turn from a hero into a monster. But in Angstrom Levy's case, he thinks he is the hero and Mark is the villain, so he does the heroic thing of breaking and entering, taking Debbie and a baby hostage, aggravated assault, child endangerment, and attempted murder on Mark. Again, from both the character and writers, this makes no sense. It doesn't challenge Mark's morality because he doesn't even understand why Angstrom is doing this. Mark doesn't go, maybe I'm also no different from the villain. He just goes, why he say fuck me for? To Mark, this is just a random hate crime and not a revenge plan. This is a shame because imagine if Mark did cause the explosion. That way, Mark does have a direct hand in turning Angstrom into a villain. Then Angstrom would have more justified reason to hate Mark, and Mark would have the guilt of being indirectly responsible of causing Angstrom to hurt his family. That's a good story, but the story we got is a hater rage baits Mark so hard he gets himself killed. Plus, Angstrom doesn't even stay dead, so the actual weight of murder ain't here. And talking about dying, how does he even survive? His only power is making portals. He was in the middle of a massive explosion. There's no way he is less injured than the Mauler twins, who should be way more durable than him. Plus, when Mark turns his brain into mush, we literally have a close up shot of his head being spread across the ground. I ain't a brain doctor, but I'm pretty sure you die when your brain is outside your head. He might be a terrible villain, but he is still an interesting character, no? No. The tragedy with him is that he wanted to save the world. By combining all the knowledge in the multiverse, he thinks he can make a utopia. Let's examine that. First of all, his plan makes no sense. Let's say Mark doesn't stop him and his plan succeeds. Sure, he becomes Super Einstein, but then what? What's the actual method in implementing his plans? Because remember, this is just a random guy. Imagine him going to the White House or the United Nations. Why would anyone believe a random guy with no credentials? Nobody knows this guy. Plus, each government is only responsible for a country. How can he save the entire planet? You think North Korea or Russia is gonna listen to him? So the public sector ain't gonna work. So he starts a private business. He goes to the lottery or Wall Street and becomes a trillionaire and just funds all the cures. Also won't work. Let's say he invents the super health potion that cures every single disease in the world. Then here comes Big Pharma with the steel chair. Or how about ending all wars? Here comes the military industrial complex. There are existing mega corporations that get trillions yearly. His biggest obstacle isn't finding a solution. It's going against shareholders and businessmen that will 100% try to stop him because of corporate greed. Okay, so let's say he does manage to achieve world peace. How long will that take? Even with all the knowledge in the world, even with all the knowledge in the world, it's not like the Infinity Stones where he can just snap his fingers. So let's say 1 year to save an entire planet. So after 100 years, he has saved 100 worlds. What about the other infinite amount? He ain't immortal. So does he put his brain in a jar and just becomes a supercomputer? Does he make clones like the Maulers do? All of this effort of breaking the Mauler twins out of jail, assembling an army of variants, and building a massive machine, why not just gather every version of yourself and make a super Google? That way, you can instantly give all dimensions, all knowledge, all at once. Even if his plan succeeded, there's no realistic way of achieving his goal of saving humanity. His plan is dumb, and the way he goes about it is even dumber. He breaks out the Mueller twins, which are high level inmates that tried to kill the president, have them buy and build a super sus mega machine that needs parts from the black market. He sets up the machine in the random warehouse inside the city. Do you really believe that the GDA or even any government agency won't notice wanted fugitives buying high tech components? Like, seriously, there are countless versions of him, so he should know that characters like Robot or Cecil exist. Why did he never try to ask for their help? Cecil works with Sinclair and Darkwing. He would have no problem in asking the Maulers to do this. But he does not do this because he doesn't actually want to save people. He wants to be a savior. There's a difference. Angstrom Levy is an egomaniac with a messiah complex. This ain't Mr. Fantastic, this is Lex Luthor. He doesn't consider any plan that doesn't involve him being the next Jesus Christ. Okay, so he doesn't tell Cecil. But why a warehouse inside the city? Why a place where it could be monitored and found out? Literally has the power to go anywhere. Why not be in Antarctica or the moon? Or even a different dimension where no one is literally alive to even possibly stop you? Angstrom Levy as a villain sucks because he doesn't actually challenge Mark's morality, and as a character, he is just a dumbass.